What if I told you that everything you're doing to grow your business right now is, well, cute, but utterly inefficient? What if I told you that you could not only double, not only triple, but you could 17 times your business in the next 12 to 24 months with what I'm going to show you in this episode? Now, if you think I'm full of it, if you think that sounds too good to be true, I don't blame you. But I want you to stick with me because I want to show you the exact process I'm using with my partners today. The predictable, the replicatable, the proven process that you'll be able to use as well just by following these steps. One of my partners sent me this message just the other day. He is now profiting $1 million every quarter. Yes, that is an extra $1 million in his bank account after expenses every 90 days. So if you want to add 100,000, if you want to add $1 million, if you want to add multiple millions to your business every single year, then I want you to follow me. So let's look at your sales funnel right now. I'm going to draw a really rough upside down triangle. And what we're going to do is we're going to break this into 3 different sections right now. What we need to understand is we need to be able to take people through a journey. We need to be able to take your leads and your potential clients through a journey. And it starts with number 1 called audience building. This is what some marketers top of funnel. And if that's a little bit too mumbo jumbo, I don't blame you whatsoever. But what happens is the people that are going to be at top of funnel, the people that don't know you effectively, they're going to be skeptical. This is you being able to actually get people that don't know you to know you and start building that know, like, and trust factor with them. So we call this the audience building framework. Secondly, we move into the second tier. We call this the middle of funnel. And this is where we need to actually fill your sales funnel. So we need to build the fill funnel process for how you're going to be able to actually make this happen. Now, the idea is people are going to go from skeptical, they're now going to become curious. We need to be able to get them to understand that, hey, the problem, the pain point that they have, you are now going to be able to start to solve that pain point. But there's going to be skepticism. Once we break through that skepticism, they now become curious. And this is where we come to the actual bottom of funnel. And then this is where we become the third campaign. We call this the application filling campaign. Now, specifically in this episode, I'm really talking to a coach, a service-based business that is selling what some will call a high-ticket program. This isn't going to be specifically for someone that's selling just a straight-out course or a membership site, but we can dive into that, but the actual principles will still stay down to this. So we go from skeptical to curious. Now what we have is we have hot new leads. So when we build out these 3 different campaigns, we're going to be able to have people that are going from skeptical to curious to hot. We get people that don't know you to start knowing you, to being extremely intrigued, wanting to then actually buy your things. So let's actually get into the real meat and potatoes of what I wanted to share with you in this episode. Once you understand how those 3 different campaigns work and how you're taking people through a journey, you need to be able to have that framework first set up, because now we can get into really defining the 7 key factors, the 7 key principles that I'm going to take a partner that you can apply into your business today. And the idea is we're not going to try and make some radical changes. That's not the case at all. What we're going to do is we're going to make some very effective, efficient, and powerful needed changes inside of each 7 of these processes. Each process we're going to try and increase by only 50%. Okay, so we're not trying to double or triple each of these sections. We're just trying to increase by 50% each of these factors along this pipeline, because you will see that what happens is by 50%, that means it's 1.5 to the power of 7 is we have 1,710% growth. So if you were trying to think, oh, you know what, I'd really like to increase my income by 10, 20, maybe even 50% over the next 1, 2, 3 years, I'm now saying, here's the process that I look at when I come into a business, being able to say, hey, this is how we're going to 17 times your business. And so the first factor that we do this is we look at lead generation. We look at what is the actual message and how are you getting that message out? And is it actually going to have what I can call a message market media match at the end of the day? By increasing the amount of leads by 50%, this is the first factor that I'm going to look at in how I can grow your business by 17 times. The second factor is we want to increase conversions by 50%. and by only 50% becomes really easy when you actually break this down, because conversions I will initially look at as 4 different factors. Firstly, it's increasing the actual number of applications. Then it's by increasing the number of booked calls. Then it's increasing the show rate, and then it's increasing the actual conversion sales in the conversation itself. So overall in conversions, we only need a 50% lift, but we have 4 main factors to be able to improve that on. So it's improving the amount of people that are actually initially making an application. How do we do that? We make it something that they actually want to be able to have. They see that the problem that they have, we're going to be able to solve, and that the application is being sold as that next step for them to be able to take. Then it's being able to make sure that they actually then book a call and follow through that process, which really only happens over kind of like 2 to 3 different factors. As most of the time when I look at an application call process in a coaching business, this is one of the biggest leaky pipelines. This is one of the biggest holes that they might have, where leads are falling through and they're not doing anything about it. But then it's the actual show up rate. And this is where we can increase the show up rate of people actually showing up to the calls. Now, for an example, you can see here, I was able to increase one partner's show up rate. They were about 50%. They're now at 91% show up rate as well. So we nearly increased by double the amount of people just showing the rate. So you can see if I need to lift conversions by only 50%, that can pretty easily be done. And then lastly, it's actually the conversations in the conversions as well. So how can we increase the amount of people that are saying yes, and they're not going to be saying things like, this is too expensive, let me think about it, let me talk to my partner, my husband, my wife, or whatever it is. Essentially, they're just saying like, hey, I actually don't trust you. I don't trust that you're going to be able to actually get me the result, and being able to take care of money objections at the same time. Now, the third factor that we want to be able to increase is by decreasing churn. We want to decrease the amount of clients and customers that are actually leaving the program. Now, it's a complete other episode just focused on this by itself, but I strongly believe that one of the easiest ways to double your business is to halve the amount of people that actually leave you, is to halve the amount of clients that are leaving. And so by decreasing churn, the main way that we do this is by actually mapping out a customer journey from the very point someone says, yes, I'm on board, and they are going to agree to come into your program. They give you the credit card details, they pay you. We want every single step engineered for them to be able to get the milestones, the wins, the achievements, the feeling that is needed, that they have made the right decision and that they're going to stick with you. Now, a couple of things happen in why people, or why especially coaches, have their clients leaving them at the end of the day. One, the client doesn't feel like they're getting the tender loving care.